Good afternoon, guys. It's Working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the U.S. dollars. Starting off with the lower time frame, the 4-hour chart, guys, on Coinbase. And last time we spoke, Bitcoin was operating up in here. I believe we were sitting somewhere around 7,800. I think it was bouncing between 7,800, 7,900, and 8,000. And I told you guys that the plane that I was watching, the area that I wanted to close, obviously to the upside, was sitting up here, as we've discussed numerous times, sitting up here at about between 84 and 8,500. But the momentum was dying down, as we had discussed, guys. This thing had gone parabolic. It was screaming for a correction, has been screaming for a correction for some time. It doesn't mean it couldn't go up. When Bitcoin goes parabolic, it can go up. But once it fizzles out, once we start to correct like this, guys, typically we're going to get approximately about a 35-40% correction if this is that larger correction that we're waiting for. And, that's not been confirmed yet, but I'm certainly starting to lean that way. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But what was certain is if we did break this plane. We saw this plane here active, and this plane sits in between, as I told you yesterday, this plane sits between 7,600 and 7,500. This was major resistance here, came back up, started bouncing on top of this, dancing on top of this, acting as major support. So that was classic, turning resistance into support. That was a bullish sign. But anytime you break, once it becomes support, when you break back down below it, that's when you know that larger correction is coming. And that's how I was able to tell you that if we did break below this plane between 75 and 7,600, we were very likely going to be coming down to at least 76 or excuse me 6750, which is where I had this this area marked out, have had this area marked out for quite some time now. And this is where I told you my first buy was. And of course, my order got filled. We ended up dropping below that. We ended up dropping to about 6,600 here on Coinbase, and then of course the bulls were able to push it right back up here. I'm still in profit. I still have my my trade open here. When again, I bought down here at 67.50. Actually, it was at 67.45. I mean, never do the hard numbers there. 67.45 is where it got filled, guys. And I'm still in that trade, but I have raised my stop loss now. My stop loss now sits just below this candle here at approximately 68.80. So either way, I'm going to be in profit, guys. But this is just not looking very, very strong at the moment. Doesn't mean it can't rally, but at the moment, we're not looking very strong at all. Let's come over here and check volume. Now, volume for the day is sitting at 31.1 billion. So that the volume is strong. And volume is strong to the downside right now, which means that this thing could move. Yes, could that mean this thing rallies right back up? We have a bunch of buy orders filled down here. Yeah, absolutely. But while we had this decent bounce here, it wasn't that strong bounce I would hope for if we just had everybody down here waiting with their buy order to push things right back up. Not at all. So I'm hesitant right now. I'm going to keep my trade open for now. As I said, my stop loss has been increased. No matter what happens, I'll be in profit, guys. I would, if not financial advice, if you did take that trade that I advised yesterday, if you did end up getting in here where I told you my buy order was, I would definitely, again, not financial advice, do what you want, but I would definitely increase my stop loss to make sure you're in profit, because anything could happen at this point, guys. And I'm going to zoom back out here to the daily. Zooming out here to the daily, guys, I mean, this was nasty. This was really, really nasty, this drop here, guys. There's no question about it. And of course, yes, this thing did drop on some news. We did have Tether being instructed by I can't remember, Attorney General. I can't remember exactly who right now, but basically instructed Tether not to lend any more money to Bitfinex. So that whole fiasco is still going on. A lot of manipulation is still going on. As you know from my video yesterday, we had shorts dropping 40% here inside of 1 minute. That was all one person. It didn't affect price at the time. So that was very, very sketchy, as we discussed yesterday. And as many of you have commented and told me, and I appreciate that, this was something I was unaware of. Apparently, Bitfinex allows traders to, when they close their short positions, they're allowed to actually claim, not close in the traditional sense where you buy Bitcoin, but actually claim their position, which basically wipes it off the books. It basically means nothing is on the books, and basically it means it doesn't affect price. That is sketchy as hell, in my opinion. I had no idea that was the case. Bad on me. Sure, bad on me. I didn't know that was the case, guys. I did not. And a couple of you have commented on me, and I appreciate that. I really do. I didn't know that was the case. To me, that is sketchy as hell. I don't know how that's legal. Obviously, this is the Wild West in crypto, and this is just indicative of that, showing you that that is the Wild West. But that's the kind of thing that gives crypto a bad name, and that's the kind of thing that if we are ever to go mainstream, guys, that kind of shit has to get. Excuse me, I don't mean to cuss. I try not to cuss. If I offended anybody, I apologize. That kind of stuff has got to stop, in my opinion. Everything needs to be transparent. I mean, how can you hold an exchange accountable if they can just close trades like that? Not close, excuse me. Claim trades like this without without it going on the books, without it affecting price. That is sketchy as hell, in my opinion, guys. And that stuff needs to stop. Yeah, Bitfinex, I mean, Tether and Bitfinex are sketchy as hell in my opinion, guys. Until this whole thing blows over, it may be nothing. Tether will probably survive. You know, if I was a betting man, I'd say they would, but I'm not going to bet on that. Yeah, but it's just very sketchy. Anyway, I don't want to get too far in the woods. I certainly don't want to spread any FUD, guys. Bottom line is, this was a this was not the healthy correction that I was hoping for. This was you know, just a very sketchy correction, guys. It certainly makes me a little bit hesitant. I'm kind of a little bit on the sidelines right now. I mean, I'll do little scalp trades here and there, but as far as any swings, I'm very hesitant to go in right now, guys. The next major position, in my opinion, below this area is going to be, of course, our area right here between approximately right around 6,400 to 6,500. You know, we almost hit that now. We hit about 6,600 on this drop here on Coinbase. I think it went a little bit low on Bitstamp. But regardless, on Coinbase, guys, this is the next major area to watch. If we do end up breaking below that, of course, I think we're going to be coming down here to our $6,000 range, guys. And of course, I do have buy orders, I told you, ladder down to $6,000. I do think if $6,000 breaks decisively, now we could wick below it, and we can see that we've had support down here all the way down to 5,800. So I can see a wick below it. But if we get a decisive break below 6,000, in other words, if we get a daily candle, both opening and closing, below 6,000. Yes, we do have a little area of what was resistance, may act as support here at about 60, or excuse me, at about 56.60. But I'm not so sure in that. I think if we do break decisively below 6,000, if we have a daily candle with opening and closing below 6,000, that'll be such a psychological hit. I think we're absolutely going to come down here to our zone down here between about 5,500 and 5,000. And remember, guys, typically if you're just looking at trading, anytime you have a major area of consolidation, which this was between 5,000 and 5,500, 5,400, that was a major area of consolidation before this thing just went parabolic here and just cut through areas of what should have been resistance and was not. Oftentimes that on the correction it does return back down to that major area of consolidation, and that major area of consolidation starts acting as support. We'll have to wait and see if it does. But if we look in the past here, every time we've had a major correction from a parabolic move like this, it's corrected about 35–40%. And I showed you this last time, guys. I showed you that remember I told you if we look at our Bollinger Bands here, we were so far extended to the upside on these Bollinger Bands. They were so far stretched out. I told you that these things are like rubber bands. It takes a lot to push them up here. And typically as they get pushed up here, even though it was very parabolic, we can see that this happened over, a few days, if not approximately, May the 1st, this approximately started. And so, yeah, so about 2 weeks. This happened over about 2 weeks. And of course it dropped 20%, almost overnight. Literally, it was overnight, literally overnight. So, think of these as rubber bands, guys. The further they get stretched, as they are stretched, it takes a little bit more momentum to push them even higher and higher. But when they end up correcting back, it usually is like a slingshot and just shoots you right back here. And so this was, as I said yesterday, or as I've been saying, they're so far stretched out. Usually, when this thing does end up recovering, or when this thing does end up correcting, correcting, that it happens violently and it happens quickly. And of course, we're seeing that now. And I'm not sure that it's any coincidence. We can see where did it hit perfectly, guys. My favorite EMA here, which is the 21-day EMA, as you guys know. This is my favorite EMA. This is what typically, in my opinion, a break above or below this typically signals a bullish momentum to the up or bearish momentum to the downside. I don't think it's any coincidence that we hit almost perfectly right there on that 21-day EMA. And if this does break decisively, if we decisively break below the 21-day EMA, guys, in other words, by decisively, I mean a daily candle both opening and closing, not wicking below, but a daily candle both opening and closing below the 21-day EMA, I think we're going to very likely come back down and test that $5,000 to $5,500 range, in my opinion. So, be very careful if you're going in right now, guys. It's a very risky play to buy into Bitcoin right now. Now, as I said, any major correction that we've had, up until from our bottom here, assuming this is a bottom, and I still do think that we have bottomed here at about 31.50 on Coinbase. It'll vary depending on your exchange, but approximately 31.50. I do think this is the bottom. If we assume that this is the bottom, in other words, it's not going to go any lower than this. If we assume that is the bottom, guys, and this obviously was the bottom of our bull run that we've had here. We've now corrected further than we have anywhere since this bottom of 31.50. The next thing that was close, if I go to the top of this wick and I go down to the bottom here, let me get right on here. That was 21.23. All right, if I come up to the top here, let's see exactly how far we've grown up. Let me grab my roll here. All right, if we go to the top here, we go right to the bottom, 21.4. So we're right, really right about the area, the major correction that we had here starting back in December, which, this was a nice healthy correction, guys. This was just a nice healthy correction, and then of course we continued the bull run, or if you want to call it a bull run. We continued the bullish momentum. Let's say that we continued the bullish momentum right on up here. This is more of a, this is the correction that we've been waiting for since 3150. This was violent. This happened quick. Get rid of that. This was violent. This happened quickly, and this is a signal that watch out, guys. This thing could come much lower. Anytime we've had a major correction like this, anytime that which looks like the start of a major correction, it's been about 35–40%. And if I look at this, if I grab my little ruler here and I go about approximately 40% from the top there. Where does that take me? Approximately 40% takes me right to the bottom of our consolidation zone here at approximately $5,100 to $5,000. So, is that a coincidence? Is it not? I don't know. But I'm not going to take the time to do it. But if you go back in time, guys, typically any major correction from Bitcoin from its parabolic move is right around 35–40%. It happens over and over and over again, going all the way back to 2013-ish. Go back and check it yourself. So yeah, if this is the start of that, and remember, just because history does that does not mean that it has to do it now, but it certainly means probability-wise that it could happen. It certainly could happen. So let's wait and see how this ends up playing out, guys. But this is not bullish. This is obviously, to say the least, this is not a nice healthy correction where you should be buying the dip. I did buy the dip. Because I had an order sitting down here waiting, and of course it did end up pushing back up, and of course you would expect a nice little bounce off that zone. But it wasn't the kind of bounce that we were hoping for, guys. In other words, I still think momentum is starting to shift towards the bears. When will that get confirmed? That'll get confirmed when on the daily chart we have a daily candle both opening and closing below our 21-day EMA. All right, when will that get invalidated? When will I say that that maybe the correction is over? And actually, invalidated is a bad word, guys. I don't mean invalidated, but when will I start to get a little more bullish? I'll start to get a little more bullish, guys, when we break back above this major zone right here, which we broke below, guys, which was your sell signal. As soon as we broke below this, guys, as I told you yesterday, that was your signal to sell. That was your signal to go short if you are going to go short, but certainly your signal to sell at the very least. So if we can break back above this, we can decisively break back above this area, which again, the top of which is at about 60. It's between 7,500 and 7,600. If we can break back above, let's say the top is 7,600. If we can break back above 7,600 here, guys, in other words, we can have a daily candle both open and close above 7,600. Then I'm going to start to get a little more bullish here. Then I'm going to start to say, okay, we may take another shot above. At least above 8,000, maybe again at our high here. So I won't go that far yet, but yeah, I'll start to get a little more bullish. I'll maybe plan another day indoor scalp. Maybe it's probably not a swing if we do break above that zone. But until then, guys, I'm kind of handoff. Maybe a couple little scalps here and there. Nothing I could relay over YouTube. But yeah, overall, guys, you're probably bet, especially if you're not an experienced trader, guys. Your best bet is to just wait and see how this ends up playing out. And again, if you did buy down here on my recommendation, guys, it's never financial advice. Not financial advice. That of course is your own thing here. I just this is entertainment only. But if you did buy down here, I would please increase your stop loss here, guys. I highly recommend you increase your stop loss from a non-financial advisor if you did that, to make sure that you're in profit, knowing that this thing could continue down and could get violent very quickly. Not saying it's going to, not spreading any FUD, guys. I'm just saying the potential is there, the volume is there, and protect your investment. Just protect your investment. All right, let's check longs and shorts very quickly. We can see that longs actually are hanging in there a little better than I thought they would, guys. They've only dropped about, what is that, about 10%? Let's see. Longs dropped. Let's go from the top there. Yeah, wow, that was a good guess. All right, right around 9.2%-ish. So yeah, that longs are actually hanging in there a little bit better than I thought, but they're certainly outpacing shorts. Shorts are stagnant, which is surprising to me. Basically that didn't affect shorts at all. This is strange, guys. This whole thing is, the market, it just showed you how manipulated that this market actually is. And even though with volume as high as it is, it makes it more difficult to manipulate, guys. This is just strange. Until this whole thing with Bitfinex and Tether gets worked out, guys, I trade this market very carefully. Just trade this market very, very carefully, guys. This was a red flag for me yesterday, guys. And I understand, yes, I know what happened with Bitfinex, but the fact that they could do that, the fact that they can get away with that, the fact that this is so unregulated that is not illegal, just really bugs me. It really. All right, I'm not going to go on a rabbit trail on that. Bottom line is, guys, longs are outpacing shorts. Yes, does that mean that gives you the potential to continue downside? And for anyone that said yesterday that because this got liquidated so long, that means looking at the ratio between longs and shorts means nothing, I strongly disagree with you. I respect your opinion, but I strongly disagree with you. We had that drop in shorts, and that, again, anytime you see shorts dropping, long stacking, that is your signal that oftentimes what happens, price drops. And what did we have? Price dropped 20% after this happened. So you had the opportunity to see what was happening here and get out. So yeah, even though I understand how manipulated this is, that doesn't take away from the fact, and it's certainly not something that should be a primary indicator between longs and shorts. This should only be something that you use to kind of back up your traditional TA. That being said, it should get your attention when shorts are falling off the board and longs are stacking. When that does happen, that should get your attention. And the opposite is also true. When shorts are stacking and longs are dropping, that should also get your attention to a large degree. So anyway, I don't mean to go on a rant on that, guys, but it's somehow somebody thought this invalidated that, and obviously we can see that's just the opposite. Since that happened, guys, about 12 hours later, we had a 20% drop. So no, the ratio between longs and shorts is still a very viable indicator, in my opinion. Is it the only one that you should use? Is it always 100% right? No. But does it put probability on your side? Yes, it does. All right. All right, zooming out on the weekly, technically this is still bullish, but this, of course, is this is certainly obviously a reversal candle. This could be looked at. It's not confirmed yet, but this is a reversal candle in the making as of right now. We'll have to wait and see kind of how this plays out. But yes, this is this is overall the trend is still bullish, but this is the sign. This is a signal that things could be starting to get very, very bearish here in the short term. In the long term here, I still do believe the bottom is in, as I said, and until we break 5,000, I will believe the bottom is in. Remember, I haven't changed my analysis, guys. I think 6,000 is likely to hold. But likely, by likely I mean maybe 55, 60% likely. I don't mean 75, 85, 90% likely. So understand that, guys. I think 6,000. I think at the very least you're going to get a bounce somewhere around here. And if you want to do a quick scalp trade, or day indoor scalp, that's a real possibility. But 6,000 could break. But the one I'm watching, the one I'm most concerned with, the one where I will start to believe that maybe this thing has been all manipulation and maybe this thing is not the bull run that we think it is, and the bottom may not be in, and that's at 5,000. If 5,000 breaks, I'm going to get very concerned. If 4,000 breaks, obviously, guys, then yeah, obviously if 4,000 breaks, guys, I'm no longer going to think the bottom is in. But really, 4,000 is the absolute last stand. Remember that this is where we consolidated for so long. This was the resistance for so long. The resistance that has not yet been tested as we're turning into support. So, well, again, we'll have to wait and see kind of how that ends up playing out. But remember, 5,000 has been tested. 5,000 was confirmed support. Broke up above, came back down, retested, support. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out if and when we do get there. But 5,000 is my absolute bottom. I will remain overall bullish on the market if, believing that the bottom is in, if and when 5,000 does hold. And again, I still think that, 55, maybe 60% chance that $6,000 does end up holding. But this is a very bearish candle here in the short term looking at the weekly chart, guys. This does indicate a possible reversal. So we'll have to wait and see how that ends up playing out. When will I stop believing that? Again, I'll stop believing that when we take out this prior weekly candle, that then we start trading above that 7,600. We start trading above 7,600, and again, in the short term, I'll start to get bullish again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there, guys. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, we appreciate an upvote if you have enjoyed this content. Till next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is working. Signing out.